Will you turn the air to 76, pretty please? Would you turn the air to 76, pretty please? Because it is a little chilly. Oh, wow, there's Dave already. I'm so blessed. No, I was doing it at 6. Although Dave's going to be at work. But I will still invite him as a live guest. Oh! Hi, Dave.
Oh, hi, Jennifer.
Okay, question.
Yes.
Does this sound good? Can you
Yes.
tell the difference? Okay.
The
Or
difference between what?
that and this one, which this one, I'm not kidding. They said that this fur thing was called dead cat. So can you tell a difference in the sound between this and this?
No.
No. Okay. Well, let's just double check with the Portland Beaver.
Yeah, check with the beam.
Let's see what the Beav says. Hey, Beav, how are ya?
Good, how are you?
Good. Question. Can you tell a difference at all between this and this? Camera 1, camera 2.
I want to say no dead cat sounds better, maybe.
Okay. Well, let's turn off dead cat. See, yeah, Jocelyn knows. Okay, dead cat, no dead cat. So we're just gonna go here.
Can't you twist the clip around? Oh, it works.
Is that no? You
No.
mean twist it? Oh, I just took it off. Shit. What a foobar. Not a good start. Okay. Oh, shit. Okay, how's this though? Sounds good, you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Compared to this, right? We can hear a difference?
No, actually.
No.
No?
Yeah, I'm not even sure that microphone's working.
Okay, hold on.
Wait, that one? No.
Hold on. How about now?
Take it away.
Yes, hi, hello?
No, yeah, I don't know that we're getting audio from that microphone.
Or any of them at all?
Let me try mine. I'm curious.
What are you using right now, Jen?
I'm supposed to be using this thing. I've been just talking.
Yeah, I mean, you sound pretty, it sounds pretty clear. It's just, I guess, like Jocelyn was saying, there's no difference between the two.
But can you tell that even like right now, where I don't have a microphone even touching me?
There's no difference.
Shit. So
I'm
Jocelyn,
saying, like, I don't even think your microphone is like working.
connected to the receiver.
I'm gonna try mine and let me see what that does.
Okay, so I'm just wondering though, because hold on, I am here, everyone. Hello. Okay, it does say that the red light is on the receiver, and that in the instructions it had said there was no, like, you didn't need to connect it to Bluetooth or anything. Hello to all my friends that are joining. We're gonna get started in just 1 second. We're just seeing if my microphones are working at all, but hopefully I sound good. How are we feeling? So we're downstairs today. How are we feeling with the backdrop? A little less busy. I also
Looks good.
Okay, good. I also need to figure out a way, since I film with front-facing camera, how to get my whiteboard to not be backwards for you guys. Is the only way to do that is to write it backwards? I'm saying hi to all my friends that are here. So anyway, okay. Well, you can hear me okay regardless, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn this off. Jocelyn, do you have yours hooked up? I can't hear Jocelyn at all now. Jocelyn?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yeah. I can hear you.
I wonder,
Oh, I can hear you.
do I sound better?
You sound great.
I do?
Yeah.
Wait, better than what?
Than I was just sounding before?
I think it sounded a little bit better before, actually.
Huh.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna mess with this later. Um, Welcome everyone to MILF Hotline. As you can see, I'm going through a complete adult breakout. Today's topic. Oh, my phone. Kate. So we have a special guest caller today. Again, it's going to be Kate Chambers.
Oh, Kate.
Yes, she's calling. So today's topic for everyone, even though you can't read my whiteboard, is how hard. You can read it, but it's backwards. How hard do you ride for your kids? We're going to talk about the best ways to advocate for your kids. And I also want to hear from people who have had either parents that are going through a custody battle or have. I also want to talk to people who are you a product of divorce. Hey, Tiff, come here. Come on up. Come on up, Tiffany.
And we're just talking about human kids, right?
Well, if your pets can speak on behalf of divorce, absolutely. But for the most part, what we're doing is we're talking about, how far will you go for your kids? And I'm going to explain why this topic is so relevant this week, as usual, because I have a shut up problem. A lot of people may or may not know I am a single mom. My amazing daughter, Kennedy's over here. That's also the Portland Beaver's niece. She's the most amazing kid ever. She's going into the 8th grade. Just got her classes today, too. She's pretty stoked on that. And up until, well, I have had full custody. I think they call it sole and legal for this whole time. And I think I've been divorced since 2014. So anyway, I've been able to make all the decisions. And then over the course of time, Kennedy's dad, who lives close to us, has gotten visitation, which has been great. I'm not going to say anything negative because it's been really great for Kennedy to have her dad in her life. But now he would like to go back to court and try and get joint custody, which for me is a huge hit as a parent, for so many reasons, right? Like I have been doing this. I won't even say on my own. I had a partner helping that helped raise Kennedy up until a year ago, which was great. So I can't really say I've been doing the full single parent thing for a long time, but in the last year, it's been challenging. And I would say that it has brought me and Kennedy closer together in so many ways. And, so this is kind of a shock, right? Because I had no idea that this was even in the mix. So hence the breakout. I've just been super stressed, mentally very dragged down. All my family members, Dave, anybody who has an ear has definitely heard me cry about this in the last 48 hours. No, since Sunday. So long time. And part of it is I'm really conflicted, right? I think that I obviously want what's best for my kid. And having been her number one advocate for so many years and not having to share that, which, let's be real, I don't share well anyway. I don't know, Joss, I'm a good sharer? I don't know.
No.
Okay, I don't share well. With my horses, yes, but you're right. When it comes to things, don't touch my stuff, put it back. Yeah, I don't share well. So Jocelyn is right. But I've always advocated for her on my own. And I wouldn't say that her dad and I are great co-parents together because there's a lot of bad blood there in history. We've tried. We can be in the same room. But he likes to strictly use the Talking Parents app to talk, so he doesn't like to be on the phone with me. He doesn't like to text. It just makes things very complicated. Hi to everyone that is joining. Wait, here's our guest caller. Hold on, wait. Hello, Kate. You're live on the hotline.
Hello, I'm sorry I'm late.
Oh, no, we're just talking. You're missing the Jen doesn't shut up part. Let me see. I just want to make sure everyone can hear you. Can you guys hear Kate okay if I do this, Jocelyn?
Hello?
That's better, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what if I put Kate like right here next to, like that? Kate, go ahead and say something.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Great. All right, Kate, give me 2 seconds. I'm going to finish my spiel and then we'll launch into you. Kate, I was saying, so as you know, you were invited because we're talking about how to advocate for your kids. Obviously, you don't have any human kids, but you are a product of divorce. And I know Kate's family really well, and I felt like your situation was super unique, that it could be very inspiring to a lot of people. And I was saying that Kennedy's dad and I will be going back to court next month because he would like to try and obtain joint custody. So I've been saying that, you know, it's been really hard for me to sort of accept that fact that that's a real possibility that I might have to share advocating for my kid, because I have done that myself. And that, you know, I would like to have a more cohesive parenting style with, you know, Kennedy's dad, but he makes it a little bit difficult. So,
Yeah.
you know, that is my story. Kate, why don't you go ahead? Oh, I'm going to invite, look at, Kate, I wish you could see this. Kate is a non-TikToker, but, which is totally acceptable.
Yeah, I refuse.
It's okay. It's okay. You're allowed. I'll stop if I interrupt. I say hi to all the people that are joining, all my operators, which I nicknamed my fan base the operators, because operators are always standing by, you know?
I love it.
Okay. Kate, go ahead and tell us a little bit about your situation with your folks. I think they were married, obviously, when you were born, but I know that there was a divorce, and then I was there for the reunion, and I don't know that they are still doing that. But go ahead and kind of give us your story.
Yeah, so parents were together when I was born. I'm an in vitro baby, so it took like 5 rounds of in vitro to bring me into the world.
Thank God you're here, though, Kate.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, so I was definitely wanted by my parents, very, very much so. And you know, things were pretty good when I was a little kid. My dad worked a lot. He was kind of raised as the man of the family goes, and he's the breadwinner. So it was my mom and I a lot when I was young. And then when I was I think I was in 7th grade, and my parents told me that they were getting a divorce. And so I was really close to my mom and not so much with my dad. I mean, it's not like my dad and I, like, you know, hated each other or anything, but we just weren't super close because he was always traveling.
That's really shocking to me, because I know it's interesting to hear, rather, because you're so close with Mark now.
I know. There was a big shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it used to not be that way. So they split, and how it worked is I was with, at first, I was with my mom on weekdays and with my dad on weekends. Okay. So my dad stayed in the house that we were all in, and my mom went into an apartment.
That was the house that your dad's still in, right?
Yes.
So that which is a massive house. So that must have been hard for you, right?
Yeah, I mean, and it was too big for a family of 3 when we bought it, and then it was way too big for just my dad. Right. But so when they first got divorced, you know, I was like, well, I just want to be with my mom, and I saw my dad as a strict one, and so I remember one weekend I was over at my dad's, and he, you know, my divorce is hard for people, so my dad wasn't in the best of mood, probably because it was a hard time for him. Yeah. And he'd always just have me do chores when I went over to his house. And so one day, am I allowed to cuss on this podcast?
You absolutely can swear as much as you want. This is my show. Don't forget. I don't. You know, I have to swear, otherwise I cease to exist.
That is true. That is true. I forgot it's you.
It's me.
So on weekends he just like had me do chores and was really no fun to be around. My mom was more fun. So one weekend I called my mom. My dad and I got in an argument, and I was like, Mom, come get me. And I think that my dad realized that he really had to get to know me and not just be like the disciplinary parent.
Yeah, that's tough. Maybe he was always in that role, you know. I feel like, you know, like you said, he was the breadwinner, and you know, he was like that. That was his. How do you say it, Jocelyn? It's like his contribution, right?
Yeah, it was very like traditional family. And if Jocelyn, if I'm interrupting Jocelyn, I can't hear her. Am I supposed to?
Nope. Go ahead, Jocelyn.
Nope, not interrupting.
Okay, good.
Okay. but let's see, where was I? Okay, so yeah, he realized that he like really needed to get to know me. And you know, teenage daughter and mom, we were kind of getting sideways, and my dad and I were getting closer. And so then eventually things got really bad with my mom and I, where we couldn't even like be in the same room. And I was really close with my dad. He was like taking me to soccer practice and all that. And so there was like a big flip flop there. But then I ended up living with my dad full time because my mom moved to Denver. So, I didn't want to change schools.
And Kate was down in Colorado Springs. So for a lot of people who are not familiar with Colorado, it's about an hour and a half at with no traffic, right? Would you say?
Yeah, from my dad's, it's like an hour with no traffic.
Okay.
But yeah, but there's always fucking traffic.
Yeah.
So
I-25, man.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of like the basic overview of like how things went. So you know, it was definitely hard being going through all that, especially at the beginning, because both of my parents were just, like I said, just in kind of bad moods a lot, and they decided that they weren't going to put me in the middle of it.
Yeah.
But even with that, and I think that they did a good job. At first, we tried to have like dinners together every so often, but it was just intense.
Yeah.
Or tense, not intense.
No, probably intense. I mean, when your parents divorced, like, was it shocking to you? Like, had they been fighting? Were you just like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening?
I kind of saw it coming because they were fighting more and more, and like we hadn't lived in Colorado Springs. We moved from Parker, which is a suburb of Denver. So we were in Parker, moved to Colorado Springs, and it was around that time that you could just tell that things were a little weird. You know, they'd sleep in different rooms, they'd fight, and so it wasn't a huge shock.
So I'm going to ask a couple of questions just based on this experience. Like, what I'm trying to learn, right, is not putting Kennedy in the middle. And how old were you again? I'm sorry. When your folks got divorced, you were how old?
Let's see. I was in 7th grade.
Okay,
so I think I was probably 13. Okay. 12, 13, somewhere around there.
So Kennedy's 13 now. Obviously, she's never really remembered us being together. But now she's old enough to really know sort of like what's going on. And you know me really well. What's been hard for me, this is where I need advice, right, from the operators, is like what's been hard for me is after, you know, what's his face and I broke up, and Kennedy and I learning how to be, you know, me learning how to kind of get to know her on that school level. Like you were saying, your dad had to get to know you. Like, I feel like there's a part of me that has to get to know Kennedy that way again now. And the boundaries that I'm struggling with are parent-friend sort of a thing. But like with this whole thing that we're about to go through, keeping her out of the middle has been really hard because, as you know, and most people who know my kid, is that she's not really a 13-year-old. She's like a 20-something-year-old trapped in a 13-year-old body, right? She's so woke, and you're welcome, and smart and mature for her age. Oftentimes, I even forget. So, you know, whereas I'm a little... I'm upset about things. What is the best way for me or anybody else like me going through this to be supportive for our kids, but not get them involved? Because I'm sure for you, the last thing you wanted to hear was anything negative from your dad about your mom and vice versa, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So were there situations where that happened? And
absolutely. Okay. Yes. And sorry, finish your question.
No. And like, how did you navigate that? Like, how did that make you were so young too. Like, were there like, you know, were there feelings of confusion? Like, how did you get through it?
So, yeah. So there definitely, even though my parents tried really, really hard to keep me out of the middle, there were times that I still got put in the middle because, you know, like I remember one time being in the car and my dad was just like pissed off at my mom and like just kind of yelling about her to himself because I was just sitting there quiet And my mom would kind of, when they were going through all the court stuff with the divorce, I remember my mom came home one night really upset about, something that happened in court, that my dad won something and all that asshole.
This was already in divorce, right? Like you were already living with your mom.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was living with my mom, and so I'd hear them say these things about each other, and I would kind of just like freeze up and sit there quiet and not say anything, because it did put a lot of strain on me to hear one of my parents talking about my other parent that way. Yeah. When I loved them both, and I just I almost felt like I wanted to help, I wanted to do something, but there was nothing to do. Ugh. So I think that, I guess from the perspective of the kid, just try not to say anything negative about her dad. The dad. Yeah. And him too. It's going to be important that both parties do that, because it feels really shitty as the kid. I get, as an adult now, I get that when you're going through something like that, it's really hard to keep, say positive things about that person. Yeah. But I think that that's all about, that's being the bigger person, is when you can be going through these things with someone and it's really tense, but you put on a smile for your kid and you say, oh, yep, your dad is great. You're right.
Jocelyn has been really, gosh, my brain, you know what, you knew me during COVID. I lost a lot of vocabulary. Jocelyn has been very crucial and influential in helping, I would say, both me and Kennedy, because what Jocelyn has helped me realize is that Kennedy likes being over there, and that there's an excellent chance that a lot of times Kennedy may want to tell me things negative about her dad to get me to be like, yeah, fuck him. You know what I mean? To align with me, because, she knows that I don't like him. And I know she's watching, so I'm just going to go ahead and say that. I want her to have a great relationship with her dad. Of course, my feelings on him notwithstanding, as long as he's a great dad, that is what is most important. And Jocelyn has been so crucial in helping me realize, look, we have to make this about her. Yes, he tends to go for the jugular and he tends to be kind of a pain in the ass, but the reality is she has a special relationship with both of us. But did you have a cool aunt that who's that cool aunt that I remember talking to? Your dad's sister, I think. But did you have cool family members my sister to be able to kind of rely on, or did you have a therapist? What kind of helped you get through your outlets? What were your outlets?
Well, so I'm an only child, for people who don't know. So it's not like I had a sibling that was going through it with me. And I know that Kennedy's in that same situation. Yep. I'm trying to think. I was in therapy. But looking back, I really, at the time, I felt like I was okay, and my parents' divorce didn't affect me. But looking back, I think it did. But I really stayed strong through it, and I didn't really have anybody that I necessarily relied on or that I opened up to besides my therapist. Yeah. And even then, it was a lot of stuff not about the divorce. But looking back, in 8th grade, I got in with some bad kids and was smoking pot, and there was high school boys that I was dating, dating a middle schooler. That's weird. So just, I got in with bad people.
In all fairness, it was Colorado Springs. Those things could be acceptable, maybe.
I mean, nobody else. I was the first. It was a big scandal. I was the first kid in my whole class to start smoking pot. And so, I was just people were worried about me. Parents were spreading rumors about me.
Oh, no.
Shitty, I know. This one girl's mom was spreading rumors that I was sleeping with this older kid and that I was a bad influence. And my mom called this lady and was like, stop fucking spreading rumors about my daughter. That's not true.
That's Ruth. I love her.
I know. Isn't that great?
But
looking back, it's I think that I handled it by just getting into some bad outlets and with bad people. And that was, I think I just went through a kind of a bad time.
Got you.
But I didn't see it at the time. It didn't feel that way.
Right. Because maybe it felt so normal to you at that point But I think the message too is number one, I need to get Kennedy back into therapy, and number two is put her into all kinds of outlets. Obviously, we know Kennedy's a great kid, but you're right. I think it's kind of that. My therapist explained it to me as our heads are like, remember the game Pong? The old. I mean, it's what was it, like Atari? The old game where it was like ColecoVision. And it was like you can't see me, Kate, sorry. But it was like the ball bouncing in between the two barriers, and you're just trying to keep it from going like into a goal space. And she described it as all these balls are floating around in our brains. And you don't really realize what's bothering you until it because they're all bumping into each other.
Yeah, totally.
Now, okay, one more thing before you go. So later on, if you don't mind sharing this, because I just think, again, like, if you had, like, Kate's family is so cool. They've always been so nice to me and Kennedy. When I met Kate, we would go from Denver just to have a furlough weekend at her dad's huge house. And there would be like 6 of us, right? Including Kennedy. Mark would make us dinners. So now your folks get along great, and they've gotten back together once or twice, right?
Yeah. So fast forward all these years, they both dated other people and all that, but you could always tell that when they got together, they were both single, that you could tell that there was like some flirtation there.
Yeah.
So they've eventually decided, they're like, well, let's give this a red hot go and try it again. And this was, how many years? This was in like 2023.
Okay.
So
yeah, this was recently because it was right before I moved back here.
Yeah, it was. Yes. And it was like right before I started grad school. So this was like years went by.
Okay.
And in those years, so the first, I don't know, we'll say 5 years or so were tense. Like it wasn't fun being in the same room. It felt kind of awkward when we try to be a family together.
Gotcha.
But, as time went on, my parents are still great friends.
Yeah.
They still love each other. They still get along. So they decided to try dating again. And that, let's see, a little over a year ago, they decided that wasn't going to work.
Okay.
My mom started dating someone else.
Oh.
And my dad's a pretty happy guy on his own. And so he hasn't really dated. But just the other weekend, my mom came over.
Good.
And we all hung out. Yeah. And my parents, like, they'll tell me separately, like, they both still love each other, and they'll say it to each other too.
I
but
know. They're so sweet.
They just know that, like, them together as a couple just doesn't work. Yeah. And after going through all that divorce stuff, I think that it's hard.
That hurt is still there for them for sure.
Yeah, like it's really hard to go through all of that shit and then just get back together and be okay. Yeah.
Jocelyn said this last one of the weeks. It was one of our episodes where it's like they're your exes for a reason, like when it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And me and the ex-boyfriend that hi Hancock Killa, we've tried to. She's my number one fan. Other than the Portland Beaver. But he and I have tried to be friends too. And, he's trying to be there for Kennedy, but it is hard for sure. And I think that's the most confusing of all for her is that relationship with the ex-boyfriend versus the ex-husband would make, would be really confusing for her if we tried to do that same thing. So yeah, I feel you. But I am happy that you were able, obviously, to get through it, and your folks really are so fun to be around. Like it. Kate's mom and dad, Kennedy just said, she we like Jocelyn. We wish Mark a happy birthday every year. So I got to FaceTime with Kate and her folks Memorial Day weekend. Yeah. So I love seeing you guys all together, but I'm also glad that you're in our lives.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and I think like such a big secret to like my parents getting along so well is like there is genuine respect for each other and like a genuine friendship. Yeah. Like they really do like each other. And so I think for people like you in your position and Kennedy's dad, an important thing is to like remember that like this is your parents' child and like remember the things that you or your parents' child, your child's parent.
Yeah, no,
and
same. Same.
Yeah, same. And there were reasons why you liked this person, got along with this person in the first place. Yeah. And so I think that, instead of just, you don't always just have to like fake it for your kid. I think that it is about like trying to find the good in each other, and not just on your side, but his too. Like both of you try to like have respect for each other. Yeah. That really is genuine.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think these are things I'm going to have to work on really hard, especially when I know that he doesn't necessarily, what is this? The TikTok format, by the way, there's all these flashing things and buttons on my end, and I just go, should I be hitting something? But anyway, it's, that is hard, and it is something that I want to do, even if, like, you would like to solely talk on this, Talking Parents app. It makes it hard because, me, I'm a talker, right? And I like to be, I feel like if I'm going to have to share the responsibility of my daughter or our daughter, communication is really key. So I'm going to try and, see how I can work on that the best that I can.
Yeah. And I know that's hard, especially like I know you've gone through a lot with him, and it is hard to like swallow that pride and really put your kid first and be like, okay, I'm going to maybe open your heart isn't the right word, but just try to find respect for this person.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're 100% right. Well, Kate Chambers, before you go, because you've been so generous with your time, why don't you plug whatever you're working on? Are you still doing the graphic design? I know Kate is a very talented, very, very, very talented graphic designer. She made the Portland Beaver. That's Jocelyn's nickname, because she's in Portland. She made Jocelyn's pet care company identity and logo, and it's amazing. We love it. But if you want, Kate, if you want to text me your website or your Instagram, I will stick it up on the MILF Hotline TikTok after.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's at Kate Chambers Creative.
The same one. Okay. I have
and I'll text it to you too if you want me to.
Yeah, send me the screenshot. I know I have it, but send it because I'll put it in the chat right now.
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
I love you so much. Thank you for calling, Miss Kate.
Love you.
I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye.
Bye.
All right, Portland Beef, come on.
Yeah.
Let's see how we're doing here. I love all these people that are here. I know you don't have a human child, and we'll see who's in the chat and wants to say anything. But what is this? Oh, Dave's coming back. Hold on. Come on back, Dave. Hi, Dave Padilla.
Hi, sorry.
No, you're okay. I saw you disappear, but I know you're at work. I want to talk. Tell me your perspective. I know that when you were with your ex, she had kids from a previous. And also, you are also a product of parents of divorce. So why don't you share your story? And then Jocelyn and I can just talk about how our parents are still incredibly happily married at 52 years later. But still, there's been a lot of fighting and stuff there. Or are you gone, Dave?
Sorry, was that a question for me?
Yeah, go ahead. I was saying that I know... I love this person's name. It's Wake and Bake with Paul. Yeah, go ahead. I'm trying to hit invite. Out of curiosity, when I hit invite, you guys get a link sent to you, or how does it work?
Just a little pop-up on the phone.
Cute. Okay. So your experience with what you were saying with your ex, and you said that you had to deal with, you had said you had some perspective on the topic.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think as a child of divorce, like my perspective, my side was pretty easy because I was a teenager when it happened, and I was already kind of in my own world, so I was pretty removed. And to be honest, like my parents didn't really fight very much because my mom had sole custody.
Right.
But yeah, my last relationship, I had a partner who had two boys with her former partner, and it was just a very contentious relationship where there was just a lot of kind of going back and going to court very often because they just couldn't see eye to eye on parenting styles, on school related issues, just everything was basically a battle. And I think that the thing that was very apparent is that even though I think both parents were really good about not talking shit about, the other parent in front of their kids were very attuned to the fact that there was something happening behind the scenes that caused conflict. So I think, regardless of, attempts to just make sure that you're kind of keeping the peace, kids will spot anything going awry. Um, but I think the other thing too that I noticed in that, specific, in the course of like 5 years was that like, you know, I think part of it was that there was just, I think, a lot of pent up animosity towards each other that really caused people to kind of never, to never really consider the other perspective. So instead of really kind of, trying to think of what was best for the kids, it really became a question of like, how can I like hurt the other person? And I
Jocelyn
think, and
said,
that's,
yeah, Jocelyn
and I
said
think
something the other day about that. She's like, why don't you focus on not trying to take, Kennedy's dad down and focus on the positive? So I feel that.
Yeah, because it's a what is it a zero sum game, right? It's like at the end of the day, it's like you're not really winning or losing, but your child's ultimately going to get not get what they need. And I think there's also the other part of it too, where it's like regardless of how much life experience a child has had in their teenage years, they're still a kid.
Yeah.
And I think it's also, and that's not to say that, that they shouldn't have a say in how they live their life and or in what they need. But I think it is important to note that sometimes, it's like, they may not necessarily know the benefit of certain things down the road because they're still kids. But, the fact, the matter is like, if they feel like they need more help with school, if they feel like they need therapy, it is something that is worth considering because I think our personal experience as adults is always clouded by, of course, our experience through friends, through family members. But, for kids who haven't gone through it, I think it is important for them to kind of form their own opinions and their own life experiences with things like this. So instead of just kind of invalidating, requests based on our experiences, I think it is worth considering that, maybe, a kid does need something that they're asking for, right? And I think it's really about working with the other parent to figure out how you can, make create like a life that will benefit the kid instead of just having it be a battle where you're constantly tallying points against the other.
Pause really fast. I just want to say that Marshall, my favorite Marshall Care, we were all friends in Denver, and he is living back in Michigan, living his best life. Anyway, he just joined the chat, and I'm super excited. So I just want to say hi to Marshy because Marshall, Kate, myself, Alba, we were all like bestie. I mean, I'm not saying we're not now, but we were all best friends in Denver, and I'm just like super honored that he would take time out of his day to like even like put the show on. So I love you, Marshall. Anyway, you were saying, Dave, like that last part you said about not being enemies.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is hard, right? I mean, not that I've been in that specific situation, but I can see how, how it is easy to like let your feelings of hurt or anger against the other person kind of devolve into something that doesn't benefit the kid.
Yeah.
But I think that's where, as adults, it really is kind of, the work is on us to figure out a way that doesn't create a more toxic situation, right? And I don't know. I mean, obviously, the whole kind of like court side of thing is another kind of conversation too that I notice and that you will probably end up going through as well. But I think it is important to consider that there's just the personal feelings that I think are very important, but there's also what the court says that ultimately also has like a big impact on how things need to work.
And that's the most frustrating part. If anyone has been into court over family law, which is just brutal, is that you have to put on your best face. And oh, hi, Leia. And at the same time, you have to fight for your kid, but be cool about it because really a perfect stranger who doesn't know your kid at all is judging what's going to be best for them based on the way you and your ex-monster are behaving in court, right? So some people behave great in court. Me and Kennedy's dad do not behave great in court. We bring out the worst in each other. I'm going to have Jocelyn weigh in on that in a second. But the last time we were in court, which was it a year ago, Jocelyn, I think it was no, it had to be the year we moved back.
2 years, I feel like.
2 years. Yeah, you're right. It's been 2 years. It was like an episode of Jerry Springer. I mean, like his lawyer and I were yelling at each other. The judge had to ask me to calm down. Then Mike was getting mad. So I don't want to go back to that. I'm praying that our judge isn't like, oh my God, these two, even though a friend of mine today said they see thousands of cases per year, they're probably going to forget. And I go, you don't forget someone that looks like this, right? So, that's my biggest thing is just like, how do we fight for our kids in those situations and look good? And I think and maintain, like a mature look. So anyway, Jocelyn, what do you have to weigh in on at all before we kind of wrap it up?
I think Dave really hit the nail on the head.
He did. Dave, I gotta tell
Said
you.
it so eloquently, better than I could say it.
Wait, what? No.
Dave, I'm gonna say that the perspective and the way that you present everything is so professional and so calming. It's very inspiring to be like, you know what? I got this. Maybe I will calm down. I hope that I hope that your words and your tone come through to other people and inspire them to also just
Maybe it was that Parisian influence.
Totally.
Yeah.
It was Paris. It was
you're so French right now.
It's that pigeon that you ate at that Egyptian restaurant. That looked disgusting. But yeah, I think that overall, for me, some of my wrapping up points is, am I Mother of the Year? Obviously. Okay, no, I'm not. But you're talking to someone who's watched The Sopranos with their kid, and that kid was so excited that, or when I guess enough people have seen The Sopranos, and when Big Pussy dies and Kennedy goes, "Oh my God, I can't believe he's swimming with the fishes." We were just like my kid understood all that. You don't screw up. But I've always been told by her teachers and therapists that I am the best advocate for my kid because I want what's best for her. I won't put up with any crap. I call spades a spade. I don't, and now that she's 13, she's really come into her own when she's like, I'm just going to vent to you, Mom, but I don't need you to fix it. Right. And that's been hard for me, I think, just because, I want to fix it for her. But, and when you're a parent, that's your number one job is to, fix things for your kids. To a point, but this is a whole new situation where it's like, sometimes I feel a little inadequate, right? Like, I don't know that, what this decision that's going to be made on her behalf is not something I have to fix based on someone else's decision. And that's really hard, and also hearing her out and what does she want, that's been tough. And like you were saying, and Kate was saying too, like, not just take that other parent down, right? But be as supportive as I can.
Well, and maybe another thing too that I'd add, is, I know that we've been talking about, the relationship between, the co-parents and, parents with their kids, but, there's also the relationship with, parents and, third parties, like be they therapists or, school professionals. And I think that's another case where, especially when you have a kid who's going through school, right? Especially like, let's say if there's some kind of learning disability or something like that, or, even outside of school, I think it is what I've seen without obviously, getting too much into my ex's experience is that there's a multitude of things that affect kids nowadays, right? Whether it's, mental health issues or learning disabilities. And I think it's sometimes not easy to kind of hear, someone saying that there could be something that, your child that is affecting your child that doesn't necessarily seem normal to you. But I think it is important to at least consider that, that there are outside perspectives, I think, that can help inform a child's mental health, or at least their kind of their general health in general, or sorry, their health in general. Sorry about that.
That's okay. How
And
dare
I think
you?
no, and I think it is also just kind of a key thing to be able to kind of be open to having those conversations and to kind of really consider the facts.
Yeah.
Because I think, from what I saw, there were years of battles on, whether someone had an issue or not, and whether they disagreed with that diagnosis. And ultimately, those continued years of fighting between parents just resulted in the kids not getting what they needed.
Yeah.
So, I think it is also just another key thing too, to just make sure that it's the growth of a kid isn't just, between the parents, right? Or isn't the responsibility of the parents. Sometimes it's a responsibility of a third party or family members as well. And, considering how those relationships operate, I think is key to making sure that, a kid grows up well.
I agree. Dave, you're so poignant.
Merci.
Okay. There it is. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up. I think that we covered a lot today, huh? Jocelyn, you and I need to figure out how to make the microphones work better, so maybe we'll just do that with my phone, and I'll call you in a second.
Yeah.
Dave, thanks so much for joining us. I know you're at work down in, in downtown, and I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, of course.
You're
Always
the
happy to be
best.
here.
And Portland Beaver, you know what? You're the Ed McMahon to my Johnny Carson. You're the who did Conan have? Andy Richter. You're my Paul Schaefer. The peanut butter to my jelly, the white to my rice. I could go on, but that's what I got. Also, to anyone that's on right now, I'm going to be coming live from Atlanta next week with Stacey Owens. I'm going to be out there doing some horse work, and we're going to talk about adult diagnoses, and I'm really excited for that episode. So next week, I'm going to be coming at you live from Hot Atlanta.
Nice.
I know, but you'll be
Awesome.
there too.
I know. I won't be there actually. I have a wedding to go to. It's like a 3-day event, and starts on Thursday.
Whoa! So we won't have the.
I will not be here next week.
All right. So Dave, I'm going to need you next week.
Okay, so I'll be taking the crown of your favorite then.
Yeah. Can you do me a favor and take the
reins? I passed the torch today.
Oh, cool. Thank you, Jocelyn.
Just for 1 week, but then we'll get the beaver back. Okay. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next week.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Bye.